Hello everyone, I am Matt Grubba here on DK Sports Radio. It's time for the Pitt Show, brought to you by Bazzi, Vreeland & Associates. They're proud to be the exclusive sponsor for coverage of Pitt athletics at DKPittsburghSports.com and DK Radio. With attorneys who specialize in several areas of the law, including personal injury, business law, estates, and oil and gas rates, the legal team of Bazzi, Vreeland & Associates proudly represents the interests of individuals and businesses in southwestern Pennsylvania. As I said, I'm Matt Grubba here, a little under the weather, but on top of everything at Pitt. Where we need to start out, of course, is football, where I know you guys have been interested in it because every time we do the live cues on the site, it's always about recruiting in there. Well, you guys got your wish. The first recruit, at least, is in the books. Leslie Smith, linebacker out of Miami Northwestern High School, is the first to sign. He is, not a highly recruited guy. He's only a three-star prospect. He is, Pitt was his first Power 5 offer. He's a guy that, liked the offer. He came to Pittsburgh last weekend, met with the coaching staff. He attended the senior elite camp that they have had the last 2 weekends, actually, on Sundays. And, sat down with Coach Narduzzi on Sunday. And by Sunday night, he had a statement on Twitter that he was going to commit to the Panthers. He's a guy that, had interest. To me, the interesting thing wasn't the other Division I offers he had, which were mostly, smaller schools, MAC, Sunbelt type teams, but that this guy was getting interest from schools like Harvard and Dartmouth and Holy Cross, some high academic schools. So, sure, he might not end up being a superstar at Pitt if you go by his star rating, but he's the kind of guy that seems like, is not going to cause you any trouble, is going to be a guy who stays eligible, sort of a good locker room influence kind of guy. Hey, you need those on a team. You need special teamers. You need depth guys. And I've never seen this kid play, down in Miami. Maybe he's just going to be a late bloomer. He's 6 feet tall, only 195 playing linebacker. So a frame like that says to me that there's room to put on some weight, put on some strength. It's, to me, I like it, that Pitt's still actively really working in the Florida area. I think Florida actually they've offered scholarships to more kids in Florida than any other state but Pennsylvania. That's, fertile recruiting ground. And when Pitt's been at their best some in recent years, or I shouldn't say recent, but the last couple of decades, it's when they've had those Florida players that are really producing for the team. You think all the way back to Antonio Bryant was a Biletnikoff Award winner. You had Torrey Cox and H.B. Blades, Clint Session, the linebackers, all coming out of Florida were, big-time performers at Pitt. And so that's, to me, that's what I take more than, who this guy is. It's that, hey, Pitt's getting themselves in play down in Florida, which is, I think pretty crucial, not necessarily just Florida, but to expand the recruiting base to more of a national take. That's where Pitt's going to need to be able to compete because, let's face it, you don't recruit just Western PA and produce national championship hopes anymore. It's not the 70s. The mills aren't open. The population base here is shrinking, and the athletes, they're from the South. They're the kids that can get outside all year round and work on speed and things like that. I'm as an observer, I'd be happy that this is, where Pitt's first recruit has come from. And Smith has said, now he's going to try and convince some of the kids he knows that also have offers from Pitt to come up with him. And so that's, maybe that's, by him being the first, he's going to become one of their best recruiting tools just because of the personal connections. We saw how that worked with basketball with Trey McGowan's the first basketball recruit being an AAU teammate of Audis Toney. And all of a sudden, both of them are here with the Panthers. So, those personal connections, that's a big part of recruiting. And I think that, Pitt's on the right path. It would be nice to see some more of these verbal commitments come soon. I'd look for that to happen this weekend because you're going to have a lot of kids up on official visits. You're going to have kids up on unofficial visits. It's still camps going on the weekend, although they don't have this weekend coming up, I don't believe is a senior day as part of their day camps that they have. But I think we're going to see really quickly this recruiting pick up for Pat Narduzzi and the football program. When we come back in just a second, we're going to talk about a few other programs at Pitt. There's some news going on baseball, basketball fronts. We're going to hit them all right here on The Pitt Show on DK Sports Radio.
Injured in an accident? Need assistance in preserving your business's interests? Let the attorneys at Bassey, Vreeland & Associates protect your legal rights. For over 65 years, Bassey, Vreeland & Associates has been representing the citizens and businesses of southwestern Pennsylvania. With offices strategically located in Washington and Charleroi, Bassey, Vreeland & Associates can deliver results for you throughout the Pittsburgh area. Visit www.bmvlaw.com or call 724-228-7000 to see how Bassey, Vreeland & Associates can meet your legal needs. Bassey, Vreeland & Associates. We fight, we care, we win.
Miller Lite is the original light beer, and we'll always brew it to have more taste, with only 96 calories and 3.2 carbs. Because we believe that if you compromise on taste, you can taste the compromise. Miller Lite. Hold true.
Great beer, great responsibility. 2018 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Average analysis, 12 fluid ounces. Less than 1 gram protein, 0 grams fat.
If you're one of the thousands of Western Pennsylvanians who love to get outdoors, then you need to check out this cool new website, stepoutside.org. Learn where, when, and how you can go camping, hiking, or hunting, or take part in power sports, shooting sports, or water sports in your local community or across the country at stepoutside.org, where everything you need to know is just a click away. That's stepoutside.org.
What I want from my public accounting firm is big ideas.
But I don't want to lose the personal attention.
My company needs global capabilities.
From a firm with local ownership.
And I want to work with industry experts
who take the time to understand my unique challenges. And that's what sets Schneider Downs apart. Expertise for the most complex business issues, with the service you need every day. To learn how our big thinking with a personal focus can help your company, visit schneiderdowns.com.
Injured in an accident? Need assistance in preserving your business's interests? Let the attorneys at Bassey, Vreeland & Associates protect your legal rights. For over 65 years, Bassey, Vreeland & Associates has been representing the citizens and businesses of southwestern Pennsylvania. With offices strategically located in Washington and Charleroi, Bassey, Vreeland & Associates can deliver results for you throughout the Pittsburgh area. Visit www.bmvlaw.com or call 724-228-7000 to see how Bassey, Vreeland & Associates can meet your legal needs. Bassey, Vreeland & Associates. We fight, we care, we win.
Welcome back to the Pitt Show on DK Sports Radio, brought to you by Bassey, Vreeland & Associates. I'm Matt Grubba, and we're going to hit around some of the other programs around campus after talking football for a little bit. I guess baseball might be the best place to start, just because we're coming off the Major League Baseball draft last week, and as a result of that, there's a few little bits and news and notes for Pitt things. First of all, how the first Panther to leave is relief pitcher Yaya Chentuf, who was the closer for the Panthers. Actually, he leaves Pitt as the all-time saves leader at the school. But he was drafted in the 36th round by the Detroit Tigers. He had 1 year of eligibility left, but he's going to sign his contract, and he's out the door. You know, hey, more power to him. Congratulations to him for being the first to sign. But then the Panthers got some good news for their own team coming up. You had another pitcher, Derek West, a starter. Was only a sophomore, and he was a guy who battled back this year. He missed all of the 2016 and 2017 seasons with first Tommy John surgery and then a knee injury. Finally got on the hill for Pitt for the first time in 2018 and worked his way into becoming, a pretty reliable arm for them. He probably threw maybe the biggest performance of the year for Pitt in the ACC tournament, coming out of the bullpen against North Carolina in a game that was 3-3. Carolina was the top seed in the tournament, number 5 team in the country. Out comes West, throws 5 scoreless innings, allows the Panthers to pull the upset of North Carolina and advance to the semifinals by winning their pool. So, he's a guy that definitely showed a high ceiling. He had a chance to head to the pros. He got drafted by the Atlanta Braves in the 28th round, but he decided he's coming back to Pitt. And so that's good news for Coach Giordano, for his program. Still got a couple of other decisions that they're waiting on. Liam Sabino, the infielder, played third base a lot for the Panthers, but maybe projects more as a middle infielder. He was a transfer from Vanderbilt, was the Panthers' leading hitter in just about every category, every power category for sure. He's a guy that got drafted, still has a year left, so we're waiting on the decision from him. You also have R.J. Furr, who was the first Panther drafted. He got taken real early on by the Cincinnati Reds, if I'm not mistaken. But Furr is, another guy. Eligibility left. He's got that high, like mid to high 90s fastball. Definitely a pro prospect, but he's got an option whether he comes back or not. We'll have to see what the decisions are from those guys. Panthers did get one more piece of good news baseball-wise. Mason Ronan, who is one of their top incoming freshmen, he got drafted by the Boston Red Sox. He's a pretty local kid, from Penn Cambria High School, which is obviously Cambria County, out in the Loretto, almost out toward Altoona direction. But he's going to come to Pitt. He's going to turn down being picked in the 29th round by the Red Sox to attend school. So, that's some good news for the Panthers. Obviously, their other player that got picked, Matt Pittich, who's their ace starter, he was a senior, so he doesn't have the choice to come back or not. So, good to see the Panthers program. I mean, they had 5 players drafted this year. That's the most they've second most they've had in program history. 2011, they had 6 drafted. So, I mean, I think it's the additional exposure, additional competition of being in the ACC is slowly bringing Pitt baseball up with it, and that's great to see. Another program I want to talk a little bit about, there's not a whole lot of hard news coming out of it. It was, if hopefully you've been checking out the site, seeing the coverage we've got on there, had a chance Friday to talk with Lance White, the new women's basketball coach at Pitt. And, it was great to sit down with him in his office. We got to talk about all sorts of things, off the record. We're talking about, our kids, things like that. But, he told me a lot about his program and where he sees it going. They've had a couple of weeks, just like the men's program now, to get in summer workouts. He's got to know his players, see what he has. He's in a different position to Jeff Capel with the men's program, where Capel, really only has the one senior in Jared Wilson Frame. That's, that's his only, real experienced guy other than City and Deer, the transfer coming in, who, while he's a senior, he's a first-year guy at Pitt. So Capel's got that. Meanwhile, Lance White has 5 seniors coming back to his team. So he didn't have to sort of rebuild the roster in the same way that that Capel's having to. And he's got some good players. He's fortunate that Asia Bug, point guard for them, she missed all of last year hurt and has graduated. She could have gone somewhere else. She stuck around. She's attending grad classes at Pitt, and with 1 year of eligibility after the red shirt last year, she's going to be back. You've got others like local player Cassidy Walsh, who was a Seton LaSalle girl. She's in her senior year. He has a nice core of players that have been around. Now, that's not to say he doesn't want to see improvement. I mean, he said to me, kind of honestly, he said, we're slow right now, and he wants to play a fast, up-tempo style. Once his girls, they have to be able to keep up in the ACC. White came from Florida State, which is a program that perennially is a 20-win NCAA tournament team, and they get up and down the court. And so I think that using that as the model, that's where he sees his Pitt program going. But, it's not that he thinks it can't be helped with his players, but he wants to see them get moving, get used to play faster. He used the phrase he wanted sort of an organized chaos in his practices to see how they react under that pressure. So, it'll be interesting to see how he turns that program, much in the way Capel's sort of building from scratch. He's got an existing core. I'm really looking forward to basketball season on both sides to see what each new coach is able to do. But that's another story for another time. We've still got a long way to get through all the fall sports. For now, that's going to do it here at the Pitt Show. Thanks to everyone for listening. Chris Benson on the production side of things, always helping us out. Thanks to Bazzi Vreeland Associates, our sponsors. Please keep listening to all the great stuff we got here on DK Sports Radio.